All right, so I just watched Bring Her Back, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm still processing what I just witnessed. You know how sometimes you watch a horror movie and you're like, yeah, that was scary, but then you move on with your life? This is not one of those movies. This thing crawled under my skin and set up camp. And honestly, after seeing what the Philippou brothers did with Talk to Me, I should have known they were gonna come back swinging even harder. In this video, we're gonna break down that absolutely devastating ending, talk about what this movie's really saying about grief and motherhood, and I'll let you know if it's worth checking out. Spoiler alert, it is, but you might need therapy afterwards. And stick around because I want to discuss how this connects to Talk to Me and what it means for this emerging horror universe. But before we dive in, and this is super important, major spoiler warning. Like, I'm about to explain every single twisted detail of this movie. So if you haven't seen it yet, maybe bookmark this video and come back. Trust me, you want to experience this fresh. So essentially, our girl Piper barely escapes with her life. And let me break down exactly how this all goes down. After Laura kills Andy, and guys, that scene made me physically recoil. Piper finally realizes what's been happening. She discovers her brother's body and tries to run, but Laura drags her into the pool. And this is where it gets interesting. See, throughout the movie, we've been watching Laura try to complete this resurrection ritual. She needs Oliver as a vessel. That poor kid's been possessed by some demonic force this whole time. And she needs Piper to die the exact same way her daughter Kathy did. That's why the pool is so important. Kathy drowned, so Piper has to drown too. It's all about mirroring the death to complete the soul transfer. But here's where the movie pulls its most brilliant move. As Laura's drowning Piper, our girl does something that completely breaks the ritual. She calls Laura Mom. And you can see Sally Hawkins' face just shatter. For a second, Laura sees what she could have had. A daughter who loves her, a family. And that moment of humanity is just enough for Piper to slip away. What I really loved about this is how it ties back to everything we've seen. Laura's been manipulating Piper this whole time, turning her against Andy, trying to become her mother figure. But when it actually happens, when Piper genuinely sees her as a mother, in that desperate moment, it destroys Laura because she realizes she's about to kill another daughter. Now, let's talk about Oliver because his ending is equally fascinating. This kid's been a walking nightmare the entire movie, eating flies, knives, pieces of wood. The directors confirmed he's basically been possessed since Laura started prepping for the ritual. But when Piper escapes and breaks the ritual, Oliver snaps out of it. That final scene where he tells the authorities his real name, man, that hit different. This kid's been trapped in his own body, forced to do these horrific things, and he finally gets to be himself again. It's this tiny moment of hope in an otherwise bleak ending.
But honestly, the image that's gonna haunt me forever is that final shot of Laura in the empty pool, cradling her dead daughter's body as the police arrive. And here's what makes this so powerful. She's not running, she's not fighting, she's just done. This all ties back to the visual symbolism throughout the movie. Remember how the pool is always empty? That's not just because they're on a budget, folks. That pool represents Laura's grief, this massive, gaping void that should be filled with life and joy, but instead it's just empty. And in the end, she fills it with death. What it all really means. So yeah, this is all a commentary on how grief can literally transform you into a monster. But it goes deeper than that. The Philippous are asking, how far is too far when it comes to love? Laura's actions are horrific, but they come from a place of genuine maternal love. She's not some cackling villain. She's a broken mother who can't let go. And honestly, the foster care system takes a beating here too. Like, where were the checks and balances? How did nobody notice Laura was collecting children for a satanic ritual?
The movie doesn't explicitly call this out, but when you think about it, these kids were failed by every system meant to protect them. What really gets me is how the movie parallels Andy and Laura. Both are driven by love. Andy's protective love for Piper, Laura's desperate love for Kathy. Both are willing to do anything for their family, but Andy's love is healthy and sacrificial, while Laura's has curdled into something monstrous. My personal take. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This movie messed me up. It's not as immediately crowd-pleasing as Talk to Me, and some people are going to hate how unrelentingly bleak it is. But that's kind of the point, right? The Philippus aren't interested in giving you a fun horror romp. They want to show you what happens when grief metastasizes into something evil. The performances are incredible across the board. Sally Hawkins somehow makes you feel sorry for a woman doing unspeakable things. And Sora Wong as Piper, this is her first movie and she absolutely crushes it. The fact that she's actually vision impaired in real life adds this layer of authenticity that grounds the whole thing. Is it perfect? No. The VHS ritual tapes feel a bit convenient, and I wanted more development of Piper's character beyond her disability. But when this movie hits, it hits hard. That scene with Untouched playing, I'm never hearing that song the same way again. The practical effects are disgustingly good, and the emotional violence hits even harder than the physical stuff. Final thoughts. So, should you watch Bring Her Back? If you can handle some seriously disturbing content and you're okay with the movie that offers zero comfort, then absolutely. This is horror that actually has something to say, even if what it's saying is profoundly uncomfortable. And here's what's really exciting. This is only their second feature, and they're already establishing themselves as major voices in horror. If Talk to Me was them dipping their toes in, Bring Her Back is them doing a cannonball into the deep end. Let me know in the comments what you thought about that ending. Did Laura deserve sympathy? Could Piper have saved Andy? And seriously, what was up with those VHS tapes? Who's out here subtitling their satanic rituals? If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more horror content, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss my next video where I'll be diving into how Bring Her Back connects to the Talk to Me universe. Because yes, the directors confirm they're connected, and I have theories. Until next time, maybe check on your foster care systems, and remember, sometimes dead is better. Peace out, horror fam.